Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
So I have great pleasure to welcome all of you on behalf of ISKCON Chennai and on my personal behalf. So we just completed our Bhagavad Gita course. So now it is time for us to enter into the other Bhakti scriptures that were so kindly translated by Srila Prabhupada. This is going to be quite an exciting journey for us because all along people believed that the Vedas or Upanishads, they only talk about impersonal God. So they thought only the Puranas talk about a personal God. And they argued that the concept of a personal God came much later. And the argument was that the original Hinduism or as the religion evolved in India, it was not a personalist religion. They thought that people originally worshipped some formless force, and subsequently only people created by their mental imagination the forms of God and they started worshipping. So many people say the Vedas are the original Shruti and they are all impersonal. So until Prabhupada came around and started giving us these amazing translations of these scriptures, like today we are going to be seeing Isopanisad, which is part of Yajurveda, and we are going to see how much it talks about a personal God, how things have been twisted around by people who have a vested interest or they cannot really understand the scriptures because they don't have the mercy of the Lord. So that amazing journey we are going to start. How the Vedas and Upanishads, they reconfirm our knowledge of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and how they all lead us in the same direction, that we will be able to see. And we will be seeing some very famous shlokas which are actually present in this Ishopanishad. So I once again welcome all of you with all happiness and gratitude and request you to stay with us in this journey. After completing Ishopanishad, we will do nectar of instructions, and after that we will do Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Like that we will proceed to various Bhakti scriptures. So let us start with our invocation. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Leela Chalanivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Bhalabhadra Subhadra Bhyam Sri Jagannatha Te Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum lange degirim yatkripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dhinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harivam Tatsat. Hare Krishna. So, I gave a small preamble before why we are studying these scriptures. The purpose is to strengthen our own faith in Krishna. The faith, as it strengthens and solidifies, we move towards pure prema. So we start with Shraddha. That Shraddha comes from Bhakti Sukriti. We have done some Bhakti Sukriti, which means we have served some Vaishnava somewhere, knowingly or unknowingly. Not knowing that a person is a Vaishnava, we might have done some service. Or we might have done some service in the temple, or some Vaishnava has taken mercy on us and he has causelessly showered that mercy on us. Somehow we got Bhakti Sukriti, and when Bhakti Sukriti accumulates to a critical level, then we get Shraddha. So getting Shraddha is not easy. Getting Shraddha in spiritual life, in the soul, in God, in the scriptures, it's not easy. It comes after a long time. That's why sometimes we are preaching and we become very frustrated. We think, how I came to Bhakti? Somebody preached and I accepted. Somebody gave me a book. I took it. I started reading. Then I became a devotee. What is the problem for these people? Sometimes we feel like that. Why everybody is not like us? When I say why they are not accepting, why they are arguing, why they are debating, why they are disliking, that means they don't have the sufficient sukruti. So that means when somebody doesn't have the faith, we should try to give them sukruti, bhakti sukruti, by making them eat prasadam, by making them hear the holy names in their ears, by making them at least to touch the book and look at the pictures. Let them not buy, but at least let them read a few words from that book. Like that, the sukruti is created. So as far as we are concerned, we have already got the Sukriti, we have already got the Shraddha, we have attended some classes, our faith has been strengthening. Now, most importantly, we should try to remain in the association of devotees and continue to read the scriptures. That way, the Shraddha deepens. Then that leads you gradually to Anartha Nivritti, your Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, those anarthas, they start leaving you, and then you develop Nishta. That means your mind is not wavering anymore. Normally for a beginner, sometimes we like to be in Krishna consciousness. Sometimes our consciousness wavers into something else. Our mind is attracted to something else. And we regret a lot. Why I cannot stay in Krishna consciousness? Why it is such a struggle? But when the anarthas gradually leave us, we develop that nishta, one-pointed attention in Krishna. Then we develop taste, and we develop strong attraction towards Krishna. Then our mind stops wandering that much because there is an attraction and taste for Krishna. Our mind begins to stay in the topics of Krishna. Then we develop bhava. Bhava means we start the initial intimation of a personal God. We see Krishna or we hear the flute sounds of Krishna. Like that, we get some intimation. Yes, there is a person and that person is reciprocating with me. And then our attraction becomes much stronger. And ultimately, we enter into the stage of prema when we are 24 hours conscious of Krishna, that consciousness never leaves us. So this is how, why we are continuing these engagements with devotees is that we need this devotee association to further progress. Otherwise, we are at the level of what is called Komala Shraddha. Our faith is very tender. It can be very easily disturbed. So until it becomes stronger, we need to water the tiny plant, just growing, sprout. So we need to water it nicely. We have to fence it by remaining in devotee association, by avoiding non-devotee association, and gradually it will begin to grow by our bhakti sadhana. So that is why we are trying to have more and more bhakti scriptures we will discuss, so the devotees will have a strong faith and they will be able to do their sadhana without any disturbance. So let us start now. A brief introduction. I request all of you to please read the book, the portions, whatever I give, before you come to the session, so that I can go a little faster. So, what is Veda? Veda is called Shruti. Shruti means it is the spoken word of the Lord. It is said the Lord breathed Vedas. So it has no beginning. There is no author. It has not been written down. It is simply the breath of the Lord. That is the knowledge. So the Lord created this material world, and through his breath, he gave the Vedas that will guide the human beings on the correct path. Why? Because this material world is a dark chamber. It is called Anda. Anda means egg. So you can understand. Inside a egg, it will be very dark. We see an egg, but the chick which is inside the egg cannot see us. It can see only darkness, like a child in the womb. This world, the whole creation is actually an egg. So we cannot know what is outside. So when the Lord created this egg, he very mercifully gave the Vedas also. Because Vedas contain knowledge which is beyond the egg. That's why inside it is all dark. So the Lord has given lamps in the form of sun during the day, in the form of moon or stars in the night, or in the form of lightning, electricity, fire. These kind of lights the Lord has given. Otherwise we are inside an egg, so it is complete darkness. So that light of knowledge is given by the Veda. So the word Veda means knowledge only. So in this world, we are all trying to acquire knowledge by a process called ascending knowledge, Arohan, deductive logic we use. We try to understand trial, error. Slowly we are progressing our knowledge. But this way, we can get only material knowledge, which is what is within the egg. We must understand this very clearly. A frog, for example, a frog lives inside a well. How can the frog know anything which is outside the well? Say, for example, ocean. How the frog can experience the ocean? Supposing a ocean frog enters into the well, and the ocean frog explains the ocean to this well frog, unless he has got faith, how he is going to believe it? For the well frog, the well is the whole existence, nothing beyond that. So someone from outside has to come and educate that frog, and the dog should have faith, trust, love, then it will believe. But believing is not sufficient, it has to deepen, then only the faith becomes solidified. So similarly, the Lord has given us the Vedas, and the Lord has personally come in the form of incarnations, and the Lord has also sent his messengers in the form of pure devotees. So by all these methods, the Lord is giving us ways and means to understand the Vedas, because the Vedas are apaurushaya. Apaurushaya means there is no author. It has come directly from the Supreme Lord. So that is why. So why it is needed? Because this is knowledge which is beyond creation. So we talk about material knowledge, which is what our scientists are providing. But even that they are not able to give fully. Material knowledge means up to the edge of the whole universe, they should know everything. They should know every atom in the universe. They should know the past of the universe. They should know the future of the universe. And they should know the present of the universe. How much they know? They are depending on Darwin, who is only a mental speculator. He himself said, I think it happened like this. I think it happened like this. It has to be verified through experimentation. That's what he also told. But because we have nothing better, we have accepted Darwin. So why Vedas are needed? Vedas are needed because there is a certain knowledge which is not accessible to us. It is not accessible to us. What is it called? Transcendental knowledge. The knowledge within the egg is material knowledge. Even that, as I was discussing, is incomplete. So how to get knowledge beyond the egg? That knowledge has to come from someone who is outside, like the ocean frog and the well frog. So the Supreme Lord is the source of the Vedas. So the meaning of Veda is knowledge. But this is complete knowledge. This is descending knowledge, not ascending knowledge. Descending knowledge is always trial and error. My knowledge of yesterday will be replaced by a new knowledge today. And yesterday's knowledge will be proved as error, wrong. This is how science is advancing. But never science will be able to get into the domain of transcendental knowledge. Never. They can reach up to the edge of the universe if at all. But how can they get a knowledge beyond this? So we are entirely dependent on the Veda. But then, which is the right Veda? Which is the right understanding of the Veda? For that we depend again on the help of the Lord in the form of his pure devotees. The pure devotees as representatives of the Lord, they teach us how to understand the Vedas. So, this material universe has been created by the Lord to take care of those souls which have come away from the Lord. What we say, paramukha. They have turned away from the Lord. For those souls, the Lord has created this house called material creation. But this is not their permanent place. This is like a jail for reformation. Once they are reformed, they will come back to the transcendental plane, to the spiritual world. For that purpose, the Lord has created. So, how to serve that purpose? Only by giving knowledge. Only by attracting them by this knowledge. Hey, when you hear, for example, that there is a spiritual world where everything is eternal. You don't have to die. You don't have to grow old. You don't have to become sick. And everything is ecstasy there. Everybody is always singing, dancing, playing, and having such a wonderful time in the presence of the Supreme Lord. All the debilities of this material world are absent there. So Prabhupada, every time when he mentions this, he says, we should become attracted by this knowledge. So that is why this knowledge is given, so that we will become attracted. Why? Because right now we are attracted by what is inside this material world. Our senses are constantly pulling, so many sense objects are pulling us for enjoyment. So we are not attracted. We are happy to remain here. Despite all the deficiencies and debilities and problems, we still want to increase our enjoyment here. So how to attract us? For that purpose, the Lord is giving the Vedas and his representatives, the Acharyas, the pure devotees. So this is how the Vedas are needed. And also, the conditioned souls, we are called conditioned souls. What the opposite of conditioned souls, what is that? Can somebody say? What is the opposite of conditioned souls?
Liberated souls. Liberated souls.
Liberated souls. So there are, among the liberated souls, there are two types. One is eternally liberated souls. That means they never fell down. They never fell down in the first place. But there is another kind of liberated souls, that is, they are the people who are like us, bound souls, but they became liberated by the process, by the support of the Lord and his pure devotees, they became liberated. Like, they say, there is a river to be crossed, somebody has a boat, they use the boat, they cross the river, and they return the boat, so that the next batch of people can come. Like that, the liberated souls, they always want to help other bound souls to come back. So a conditioned soul is a bound soul. What is he bound by? What is binding the soul, conditioned soul?
Karma, Prabhuji.
Yes, karma. What is that karma? Can you explain a little more?
Karma means when we indulge in the material world based on the three gunas, Prabhuji.
Yes. So the three gunas bind us. When the Lord creates this material world out of his external energy, he agitates it by his energy called kala, the time energy. And the time energy, when it operates on this material energy, three things are created, three gunas are created, sattva, raja, tamo guna. These gunas provide you a body to the conditioned soul, a body with which it can try to enjoy the available resources of this material world. So this is how we become bound. So what are we bound with? We are bound by a subtle body and a gross body. The subtle body is mind, intelligence, and false ego. What is the false ego? False ego is the consciousness that I am this body. That means we accept it. A body is given by material nature, and we accept this is me, this is my body, even though The soul is not material at all. Soul is spiritual. But material energy awards you a body based on your conditioning, your karma, and you accept it. When you accept it, the bond is complete. Then you will act on the understanding that I am this body. And with every action, you will become more and more bound. So this is what happens. So Prabhupada explains from the Vedas. The Vedas are talking about 4 kinds of defective conditioned souls. One kind of mistake is that, one kind of deficiency is mistake. A conditioned soul always makes mistakes. So Prabhupada gives the example of Mahatma Gandhi. I hope you have, at least some of you would have read Isopanisad before coming. So he gives the example of Mahatma Gandhi. His secretary cautioned him, please don't go for the prayer meeting. I have news that someone will try to shoot you. But Mahatma Gandhi said, no, who will try to shoot me? I am a peace-loving man. Nobody will come to kill me. I will go. And he got shot. So Prabhupada gives that he could have avoided going there. So similarly, Kennedy, he also got shot like that. So he gives these 2 examples. We all know we make mistakes. Making mistakes is very common among conditioned living souls. The next kind of mistake is we fall into illusion. Illusion. What is that illusion? The most biggest illusion is to accept that I am this body. I am actually a spirit spark. I have nothing to do with matter, but I still accept this body. There illusion starts. To think I am this body and my enjoyment comes from this body. That is where the illusion starts. And third is our senses are defective. Our senses are defective, we all know. Like when I look at the sun, what do I see? I see a small disk. If I focus, otherwise I see only some light. I don't even see the globe. If I look closely, I see the globe. There are many things I cannot see. Like I cannot see the microbes. So many diseases are caused by microbes, but I cannot even see the microbes. Only on the basis of what scientists say, we say, yeah, okay, we accept it. That's the third defect. And the fourth defect is we all have a cheating propensity. Prabhupada says, for example, we even don't know who we are, but still we act as though we are very intelligent. We say, I know the truth, and I am telling you it is like this, like Darwin. He says, man came from monkey, I know. How does he know? He is a man of the 18th century, but man had come much before that. several thousands of years before that. But still he could very confidently argue, I know man came from monkey. And I know the earth came from Big Bang, universe came from a Big Bang. With what basis? So this is the man's tendency to cheat. So these 4 defects are there in conditioned soul. So if any conditioned soul tries to give you knowledge, it is limited knowledge, erroneous knowledge. Today's knowledge will change tomorrow. So we need the Veda, which is descending from above. From the pure source it is coming. From the creator directly it is coming. That is why we need the Vedas. And if we accept the Vedas, we accelerate our progress towards God. We accelerate the progress towards liberation, transcendence. Otherwise, we struggle. For everything we want a proof. Say, for example, a child wants to know who is the father. The child asks the mother. The mother says, this is your father. And the child accepts it. Problem is over. Otherwise, you have to go and try every man in the world to find out who is your father. It's such a difficult exercise. So, accepting the Vedas makes our job very, very easy. We make very rapid progress by accepting the scripture. Okay. Thirdly, Prabhupada talks about, I try to go a little fast. Prabhupada says we are not Hindus and Vedas are not Hindu scriptures. We are not Hindus. Indians were called Hindu by the Arabs when they came across the Sindh river. The river Sindh, they pronounced as Hind. So they saw a totally different civilization across the Sindh river. When they came east from the west, they had to cross the river Sindh. And they saw an amazing civilization the other side of Sindh, which is based on Varna Ashrama system. So they saw the varnashrama system of the other side of Sindh, and they named them, the people, as Hindu. Those who live on the other side of Sindhu, they call them Hindu. But the word Hindu basically represents those people who practice Varna Ashrama system. So we should recognize ourselves more as practitioners of Varna Ashrama, which is very detailedly given in the Manu Samhita, and otherwise we are not Hindu. Hindu means anyone who is living on this side of Sindh river was called Hindu by them. That means the entire population were practitioners of Varna Ashrama Dharma. They could have been worshippers of demigods, they could have been worshippers of the Supreme Lord, they could have been worshippers of impersonal form, they could have been atheists also. They are all called by the name Hindu. But the fact is, the whole population was practicing Varna Ashrama system, which was enforced by the king under the guidance of Brahmanas, scholars. So this was India. So we are not Hindu, we are Varnashrama people. And Prabhupada says Vedic statements are perfect. And he gives two examples because it is coming from the perfect source. The Lord is a perfect source. So Vedic statements are perfect. Prabhupada gives a couple of examples. One is, the dung of any animal is impure. It is a excreta. It is a reject of an animal. We should not touch it. And according to our system, Varnashrama system, if you happen to touch it or contact it, you have to take a bath or you become impure. But the same Veda says, but cow dung is pure. In fact, you purify with cow dung. You purify your house, you purify your body, everything with cow dung. So how is it we can say it's a contradiction in the Veda? But then modern scientists are accepting, except cow dung, all other dung is polluting. They can cause disease. But cow dung is antiseptic. It destroys parasites. So it has some special properties. So how is it? So same way Vedas say the conch, it's a bone. If you touch the bone, which is coming from a dead body, you have to take a bath. But conch is pure. We do abhisheka with conch. So this is the Vedic statement and we accept it. So Prabhupada says, if you accept the Vedic statements, you are safe. In olden days, even I have heard, some of you might have heard also, when people have an argument, they say, what do you mean? What you say, is it a Vedic statement? Why should I believe you? Is it in the Vedas? They ask. That means we are ready to believe if it is in the Vedas. That was a kind of power the Vedas held over the whole population. But when we rejected Varnashrama system, the faith in the scriptures were lost. And now we are struggling for knowledge. And we are misled by all kinds of false knowledge and we are struggling. So what is the source of Veda? I have already said Shruti. It is heard and passed on. Until the time Vyasadeva, at the commencement of this Kali Yuga, mercifully came and wrote down everything. Because he knew Kali Yuga is coming, people will not have the capacity to remember and understand. Let me write it down. So one Veda, there was only one Veda. He made it into 4 for ease of learning. And he created 4 paramparas with that. One parampara for Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva, like that he created. So original source is the Supreme Lord. And then what is the parampara? The pure rishis. Through them, without any pollution or contamination, it has been passed on like that. So again, this point I said, experiential or descending, which is the correct knowledge. If I have to experience, that is very difficult to get knowledge like that. Like Darwin has given a theory about how man came. How we can experience it? Can somebody show me a monkey giving birth to a human being? So it is unverifiable. Modern science says that all knowledge should be verified. Then only we will accept it. Not only verify, you should repeat it. You should repeat it. Somebody says, I did something and happened like this. Then we will ask him, show it again in front of me in the laboratory or give me proof like that. So that is experiential knowledge. But this way, we cannot find the original creator. I know I have a father, my father had a father, his father had a father, etc. So ultimately, everything should have come from a father. So that father, the original father is what we say, the Supreme Lord. This is something we can understand. but it is only by our logic. But the descending knowledge does not depend on experience, it does not depend on logic. It is directly coming from the Supreme Source. So, what a wealth it is! It is our treasure. So, Prabhupada says in India, the Lord has given the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Puranas, the Itihasas, the Bhagavad Gita. In other parts of the world also, the Lord has given scriptures depending on their competence. Because we had a Varnashrama system here, a pure revelation could be given here. In other places, it naturally got diluted because people were not competent to handle the pure truth. So, according to their competence, it was revealed. So, this is descending only. Ascending knowledge is not suitable for transcendental knowledge. And there are three pramanas. This is also in terms of acquiring knowledge. What are the three pramanas? One is, does anybody know the three pramanas?
Shabda Pramana, Pratyaksha Pramana, Anumana.
Yes.
Anumana Prabha.
Yes. So what is Pratyaksha?
Anumana, Shabda and Pratyaksha.
Yes. What is Pratyaksha?
What we see, Prabhu.
What we gather from our own senses directly. Okay, whether directly from the senses or using some instruments also, using a binocular, using a telescope, like that. We can use instruments also, but ultimately the knowledge gathered through my senses. That is Pratyaksha. What is Anuman?
Hypothesis, Prabhuji.
It's hypothesis.
It is a inductive knowledge.
Inductive knowledge. Excellent.
Inductive knowledge.
Yes. That means I make some observations, and based on these observations, I think this is what must be the case. So I see people dying around me, so I say everybody has to die. But until I verify everywhere that there is not a single man who has not died, how can I confirm? So this is a kind of, based on my observation, I come to some conclusions. So this is called inductive kind of knowledge. Okay, this is using logic. I am using my logic. But what is the third one? That is Shabda.
Basic knowledge.
Both these two types of knowledge, because the senses are limited, because people have a tendency to make mistakes and people have a tendency to cheat. For these reasons, the two types of knowledge are not good. Shabda. Shabda is sound. Sound is the perfect knowledge. That sound which is transcendental. It is coming from the transcendental platform in the form of Shruti. That is considered as the best form of knowledge. So out of these three pramanas, Shabda Pramana alone can give you reliable information about the transcendence, what is beyond this material universe. That is the only source. No other source can fill this void. If you, supposing you reject the Vedas, you reject the scriptures, you reject the guidance of pure devotees, then you are completely lost. Completely lost. You will simply be a blind man. That's all. So that's why we say, Chakshurun militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We say the Guru opened my eyes. Till the Guru opened my eyes, I was actually blind. Because that light is given by him. As I said, this is an egg. Inside the egg, you don't have that light. You can't have the complete perfect vision. That is given only by the Guru. So, for example, Prabhupada says, we know there is a sky here. But this sky also, we don't know the edge of this sky. The scientists have not yet been able to go. They have been not even able to cross the solar system. Maybe some rocket, sometimes some Voyager, they say it went out of the solar system, but it has run out of power also. So no news is coming. So what to speak about one solar system? It is so tiny in the whole creation. So we don't even know the edge of our material sky. But there is information that beyond this material sky, there is a spiritual sky. So how to know this information? Unless you take it from the scriptures. That there is a spiritual sky, there are spiritual planets, there the people are all perfect, they are not suffering from birth, old age, disease and death, and the Supreme Lord is available there, having amazing pastimes with these people. From where to get this knowledge? So we will simply live and die like animals. The human beings cannot become anything better than animals, two-legged animals, and worse than that, because we have the ability to strengthen our material knowledge, and that will create too much problem. Like we know The world is having most problems because of human beings only. We have not only polluted the rivers, we have polluted the oceans also. The other day I was in the Marina Beach. There is the stink of gutter coming from the ocean. That is our ability to pollute. The fish in the ocean also die because of pollution. About the land, less we say, the better. The air is polluted. Everything we have polluted. So how to depend on the human beings? Because they have lost the light of the scriptures. They are led by blind men leading the blind. So if we accept the Veda, based on, we can ask any number of questions, but ultimately we have to come to the platform of accepting the Vedas as the absolute truth for me to make any kind of progress. Once you do, you accelerate your progress. So how to strengthen my faith in the Vedas? We should come in the association of devotees and we should hear. We say Shruti, hear. We have to hear the scriptures. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. The Srimad Bhagavatam says, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. By daily hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, unlimited amount of karma we have accumulated over so many lifetimes, it gradually gets cleaned. So this is the way to become purified and accelerate our spiritual progress. So the next point is about Krishna. So the Lord says, Krishna is the source of everything. Krishna is the source of spiritual world and the material world. And about Krishna, he says a few things. I will go a little fast because this is basically a repetition of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna has innumerable forms. In this world only, we know he has taken so many avatars. All these avatars are eternal forms. They appear and disappear to us, but they are eternal forms. They are existing in the eternal sky, the spiritual sky. So he has innumerable forms, but they are all one. Brahma Samhita says, Ramadimurti Shukala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavatara Makarotu Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramapumanvyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. He takes unlimited incarnations. Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavataram Akarot. He takes so many forms like Rama and so many other forms. That Rama is actually Balarama. So many forms he takes. And all these forms are essentially Krishna only. So that way, unlimited forms, but there is one form which is Krishna. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. And all these forms are infallible. Infallible means they never fall into the control of material nature. Because material nature is under the control of Krishna. So none of the expansions of Krishna, say for example, Garbhodakasai Vishnu comes into this material universe. Kshirodakasai Vishnu is in every atom of this universe. But still, they never fall down. They are always pure and untouched by material energy. The three gunas, they don't touch them. That is another. So you can see how Krishna differs from us. So whatever I am saying about Krishna does not apply to the living entity, the soul. He has no beginning to his form. If you ask me when was I born, I will give you a date. Before that, I did not exist. And also one day will come when I will be gone and my body will no longer be there. So I have a beginning and I have an end to my form. Krishna has no beginning or end to his form. You may say, no, how do you say that Krishna has a father, Devaki, Vasudeva, or his parents? So when parents are there, there must have been a beginning of the form. Amazing question, right? That's why we say God is Achintya. We cannot fully understand God. But anyway, I will try to answer this question. So the Lord's appearance and disappearance is not like us. He is not born. He becomes visible and he becomes invisible by his choice. So when he takes birth from the womb of a mother, it is an appearance. The Lord makes his appearance like a human baby because he wants to have interactions with us like a human. So he takes birth from a mother. He chooses his mother. How many of us chose our mother and father? Krishna chooses his mother, his father, chooses the time of his birth. So he is already there. So he is making this appearance. and disappearance. And when he disappears from here, he is appearing in some other universe. Like the sun rising and setting, he appears and disappears. So he has no beginning to the form. He can be everywhere. He is all pervading. You remember the case of Prahlad Maharaj. His father said, "Where is your Hari? Is he in this pillar?" So Prahlad Maharaj said, "He is everywhere. He is in this pillar also." Obviously, Vishnu did not know. I mean, we can say that this kind of conversation is going to happen between Prahlad and his father. He says, "Is he in this very pillar?" So Prahlad says, "Yes, he is everywhere, so he is in this pillar also." Then the father smashed the pillar. Instantly there was a deafening roar, and there he was, Narahari. He was appearing from the pillar. How is it possible? It's possible for him because he is everywhere, all pervading. So from anywhere he can appear. He can appear from father and mother, or he can appear from the pillar. He can choose the pillar as his parents. Or sometimes he chooses Brahma's nose. From Brahma's nose, one small figure appeared, so tiny, and he went up in the sky and started growing, and eventually he became Varaha avatar. So amazing. And everybody was wondering what a huge boar has come. So like that. But he is actually everywhere, all pervading. So that is why we are unable to figure out. On the one side you say Krishna, Sachitananda form, but at the same time he is everywhere. How? That is his Achintya Shakti. So he is the original person, oldest person. He is the oldest person. Anadir Adi Govinda. Ishvara Paramakrishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govinda. He is the original person. But he is always youthful. His form is always youthful. He doesn't become old. When we try to think, oh, God is so old, he's the first person, so he must be looking older than all of us. But no, he looks young. That is the Lord. And we cannot know him directly. So we need support to know him. Why? Our eyes, we already discussed, our eyes are defective. How we can see? So that is the problem. And similarly, to know him, only a devotee can show. Why? Because the Lord chooses to be known only by his devotees. So a devotee can know God, a devotee can show God, and he can also give Krishna to others. So getting Krishna only at the mercy of the devotee. So this is the understanding, the difference between soul and Krishna. So the Vedas, in the olden days, intelligent people could understand, and Vyasadeva has written it down. He also wrote a Vedanta Sutra and commentaries, and we have the Gaudiya Vaishnavas accept Srimad Bhagavatam as the natural commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Hopefully, in a future date, we will also start Srimad Bhagavatam. Let us all pray to the Lord, either through me or through another wonderful devotee. We should all be able to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. That will take you into the depth of transcendental understanding of the Supreme Lord. So that Vedanta Sutra is like formula. Sutra means formula. It's a formula of God. Such a tiny text, but it is the essence of all the scriptures. The Vedas, the Puranas, Itihasas, everything in that. And there is a natural commentary called Srimad Bhagavatam. And that Bhagavatam gives you the full explanation of who is God, who are the souls, what is the connection, sambandha between God and the soul, and how bhakti is practiced, and what are the results of performing bhakti. Everything is there. And Gaudiya Vaishnava, we belong to the Gaudiya Vaishnava branch of Vaishnavas. We belong to the Madhva Sampradaya, but not exactly. Within Madhva Sampradaya, there is a branch started by Madhavendra Puri, which is completely based on Madhurya Prema to the Lord, which is the highest relationship that a devotee can have with God. We belong to that parampara. The Lord himself, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chose to appear in this parampara, and he is called the Yuga Avatar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he gave us the Yuga Dharma of Harinama Sankirtan, which is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This holy name the Lord has given. So simply by chanting the holy name, we can get complete transcendental understanding, because the Lord will light the lamp of wisdom into the seeking devotee's heart, provided he sincerely chants, as guided by the Acharya. So these four defects of conditioned souls you have already seen. So now we'll see the invocation song of Isopanisad. So in future, I really wish to go a little faster. I request all of you to come prepared. Give at least 1 or 2 readings of it. It's a small book and there is not much of a purport also. I request all of you to kindly come prepared. So let's read the invocation together. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. So this is Vedic sound. This is coming from Yajurveda. This is Veda, Shruti. So let us read the invocation again. Om
Purnamidam Purnamudachyate
Mudachyate Purnasya
Purnamevavashishyate
Purnamevavashishyate.
So the Vedic mantras always Om, that Om. That Om is the Shabda form of the Supreme Lord. Om represents Krishna. You have seen in Bhagavad Gita, the sound Om. So all Vedic mantras will start with Om and that is Krishna. Om is Krishna. Now let us see the translation. The personality of Godhead, that is Krishna, is perfect and complete. Purnam. Purnam means perfect and complete. So Purnamadaha, the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete in his spiritual world. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, what is coming out of him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. So the Lord is complete and this phenomenal world has come from him. This is also completely equipped, perfectly equipped. Whatever is produced from the complete whole is also complete in itself. We have to know, this is the Veda is telling. Complete whole means anything that comes out of it is also complete. We should never have a sense of incompleteness because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance, which means what? Everything remains. You take a loaf of bread and you make so many slices and you take out and distribute all the slices and again the bread is in front of you. So many slices you slice it and again the bread is with you. Like in Bible it is said, when so many people had come to see Jesus Christ and so they said, Jesus, we have hardly any bread to be distributed. Jesus touched the basket and said, go and distribute. And they went on distributing bread to everybody and it kept on coming. And the end of it, they had another 20 baskets full of bread. Like that. So from the complete whole, you take out any number of complete units and it doesn't become exhausted. Rather, it remains full as ever. So this is the meaning of this shloka. What an amazing shloka. And this is the invocation. This is not the starting. This is invocation. This is a prayer song to the Supreme Lord. That he is complete and we have all come from him and we are all complete only. So where does the incompleteness come from? Incompleteness is ignorance. That's all. So once the ignorance is removed, the incompleteness goes away. So let us see this quickly. The complete whole is a Supreme Lord, and so we call him Supreme Absolute Truth. Truth. What is truth? Truth is unchanging. Unchanging. It remains as it is forever. It doesn't undergo transformation. It is always the same. It cannot be divided. If it is divided, it is not the truth. If it can be transformed, it is not the truth. If it is changing, it is not the truth. It has to be ever like that. It should not have a beginning and an end. So these are the definitions. So this is the definition of Supreme Absolute Truth. And what is the Supreme Absolute Truth? It's a person. And his name is Krishna. So Prabhupada used to say in the West, see, you don't know the absolute truth. You are searching. I am coming and giving it to you. Take. I am telling you, Krishna is the supreme absolute truth. I am giving you his name. I am giving his address. I am giving the names of his parents. You take them. So very mercifully, Prabhupada used to tell them like that. So this is supreme absolute truth. And what is he? Sachidananda Vigraha. He is the opposite of everything that we are experiencing. Sat means eternal. Are we eternal? Our body is not eternal. Chit, all knowledge. What do we know? I don't know what happened yesterday. I don't know what will happen tomorrow. My knowledge is very incomplete, so I am not Chit. And Ananda, when did I last experience happiness? I don't know. And when I will experience happiness, I don't know. So that is my situation. So Vigraha, the Lord has a form. The Lord has a form. So it's a spiritual Satchitananda form. What about me? I don't have a form. This is not my form. Honestly and thankfully, this is not my form. My form, the Lord will give me when He is fully satisfied that I am a pure devotee and I have surrendered to Him. Then my form will be given by the Lord, which will be exactly like His form. That is the mercy of the Lord. It will be a Satchitananda form, which is waiting for us. So we should become attracted, Prabhupada says, with this information. I want to claim that Satchitananda form. I don't want this form. This form is too miserable for me. I want to go back to the spiritual world. So Prabhupada says, become attracted. Vedas are giving this knowledge only to attract you. So that you will go and dive at the lotus feet of pure devotees and tell them, I surrender to you. Please help me to reconnect with the Lord. I want to go back. I don't want to continue to struggle here anymore. Like that. So material universe is complete, Prabhupada says, and independent. Now we say, no. How do you say it is complete? Today there is news that in Pakistan, I don't know how true it is, but they are putting so many visuals that people are struggling, falling over each other for a bag of rice or some flour or something like that. There is so much scarcity. Inflation is rising like anything, and there is no foreign exchange. So everything they are importing, and they don't have much food. So much scarcity. We saw only a little while ago, it happened in Sri Lanka. It happened in Bangladesh. So we are seeing such amazing scarcities. And how do you say material universe is complete and independent? Prabhupada explains amazingly. Please read the purport. So amazing. Material universe has been created for a purpose. And for that purpose, the material universe is complete. It is made of 24 elements. It doesn't need any external help to maintain itself. Completely it maintains itself, and it can supply all the maintenance needs of every living entity. It can supply the maintenance needs of all living entities. But because of our incomplete knowledge, our ignorance, we mishandle the whole thing and we create problems. But still, please understand, a pure devotee of the Lord will never have any problems, which means this world is so perfectly arranged, everybody is experiencing the fruit of karma only. What we see in Pakistan, or we see in Sri Lanka, or we see in Bangladesh, it's only part of the picture. But the actual fact is, wherever there is a pure devotee, he doesn't suffer. Secondly, people suffer only according to their karma. Only according to their karma. There is no more. So how is it happening? Because the material universe is complete and independent. Durga Devi is in charge. Durga Devi is the personification of his external energy, the energy of the Lord. So material universe is also complete. But the imperfection we experience here is because of the ignorance, avarana. It's covered by ignorance. But you become free from ignorance, you become free from all incompleteness, and you become complete like the Lord. Every soul is complete, unit, part and parcel of the Lord. And Prabhupada gives a nice example of the hand. When the hand is connected to the body, it's complete. It is completely performing its functions and it is completely supporting the body. But the hand is supposing cut off, disconnected, then it has no function, it has no purpose, and it will wither away. So we are all complete units, but why do we experience incompleteness? Because we are separated from the Lord, thinking I am independent. So that is where the problem comes. So once we reconnect to the Lord, we become complete. So living beings are small, complete units, but they have to become connected to the whole. Incompleteness is due to incomplete knowledge. Why incomplete knowledge? We have rejected the Vedas. That's why. Full knowledge is there in the Vedas. So how do we overcome this incompleteness? We have to dovetail to the Lord. Like the hand, when it is connected to the body, when we connect to the Supreme Lord, how do we connect? We serve Him. We become His servant. The hand is a servant of my body. So the soul is a servant of the Lord. So if we begin to serve the Lord in the mood of a servant, then we become complete whole, because we become part of God, then where there can be any shortage. So this is the understanding we should have. So we come to the first shloka of Isopanisad. I will read, and this is also an important shloka you should all memorize. Please memorize. These two shlokas will be very useful to you to deepen your faith and to preach. Some people will say, Bhagavad Gita is not Shruti. Some nonsense people. No, it is only Itihasa. That is not as reliable as Shruti, as though they know everything. They'll say, only the Vedas are the Shruti. You tell me about the Vedas. I don't accept Bhagavad Gita. Like they will say some nonsense. For those people, you can quote from Isopanisad. Isopanisad is coming from Yajurveda. So like, Ishavasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Kindly keep muted, but please read along with me. But please stay muted. Ishavasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunjita magridha kasya svidhanam. Once again. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magridha kasya svidhanam. So this is, see, we say it's a Ishopanishad. They also say it is Isavasyopanishad. So this is the title coming from here, Ishavasyam. Now let us see translation. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. This material world consists of both animate and inanimate. Jagatyam jagat. The jagat, the meaning of jagat, those who know Hindi, they know jagat means going and coming. The jagat, jagat means going and coming. So in this world, people are going and coming. Everything is going and coming. So it's called jagat. So in Sanskrit, every word has an amazing meaning. So everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. Lord is the proprietor and controller of everything. Animate means the living entities, inanimate means non-living entities. Everything is owned and controlled by the Lord. So what belongs to me? Nothing. Rather, I belong to Him. I belong to Him. And everything that I say belongs to me also belongs to Him. So one should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside. Tena tyaktena. Tena means Lord, He. Tyaktena, what He has set aside as my quota. Tena tyaktena bunjita, I should accept only that. And we should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. To whom they belong? To the Supreme Lord. So we should know everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. And He has given me my quota. He has given quota to everybody else. Prabhupada gives an example of a cow. Very amazing example. Prabhupada says, the cow eats only grass. It doesn't compete with you for eating your paddy or your other things, your gulab jamun, rasgulla. It's not competing. It is happy with eating grass and straw. What you reject? After oil is expelled, the oil cake, the dry oil cake, it will happily eat. So what you don't want, the cow eats. What an amazing animal Lord has created. To recycle the waste. What we don't want. After you have harvested paddy, that useless straw, it eats. And the grass, you cannot digest. It's all cellulose. Human beings cannot digest cellulose. But cow digests that. Cow has a special ability to digest cellulose and convert into an amazing item called milk, which is food for us. How the Lord has created quota for each one. The quota for the cow is the grass, and quota for us is the milk what the cow gives. So that cow produces excess milk. If it is properly kept, after the calf has been fed, there is enough milk for the human beings. So that is why the whole world, pastoral, Krishna, even the spiritual world, he is grazing cows. He is called Govinda. So Prabhupada gives this amazing example of the cow. There's no competition really. The Lord has arranged so nicely. So when somebody else is enjoying his quota, I should not try to grab it, because both my quota and the quota of other men, it's all God's property only. God has given temporarily my quota, his quota, everything. I should enjoy that and be satisfied with that. This is the way to live in this world. If I start developing greed towards the quota of other people, I get into serious trouble. What is it called? If I do that, the technical term, can somebody recollect?
Trespass.
Trespass. So in our scripture language, what is it called?
Read, Prabhuji. Read.
Transgress.
Vikarma. Yes.
Anika.
Vikarma. I
Yeah.
should live happily with what quota the Lord has given, with a sense of gratitude. Oh Lord, this is the quota what you have given to me. I know I am a sinful person. I have taken so many births. So much of accumulated karma is behind me. You are perfect. What I deserve, you have given. I will use it happily and I will serve you. There was an amazing character in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He's called Kolavecha Srila. Kolavecha means banana leaf seller. Banana leaf means what? After the tree is cut, it is left like that. And he picks up only those. The bird is rejected by everybody. And he salvages whatever is possible, the trunk and the leaf and some leaf cups, etc. He will make and he will sell it. He will sell it at such a low price. He will get some money at the end of the day. Half of it he will use for worshipping Mother Ganga. He was living in Mayapur. So Mother Ganga he will worship. Remaining half of it he will use for himself. He was very, very satisfied. The Lord asked him, Kolavecha, I will make you the king of this world. Please take this boon from me because I am so pleased with you. He says, Lord, why do you tempt me like this? I have seen the king living in the palace and I have seen the bird living in its nest. I don't see any difference. They are all doing the same thing, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. I don't see any difference. I am happy with what I have. This was the mood, and this is exactly the Ishavasyam spirit. Whatever I have, I should live with that happily, contentedly, gratefully, and I should worship God and I should constantly thank Him. This is the way to live in this world. How? We should follow the Ishavasyam principle to live in this world. That way we can live happily hundreds of years and no problem. You will not get karma or vikarma. Whatever you do will become a karma because you are connecting to the Lord and doing your activities. Let us try and go a little into what notes I have taken. This is, again, we have already seen apaurushaya. Apaurushaya means Veda is not made by man. So this Ishavasyam, Isopanisad, what we are reading, is not man-made. It is given by the Supreme Lord. Veda Vyasa has written down. Veda Vyasa is also an incarnation of Vishnu. Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahma Nidaye Vasisthaya Namo Namaha. We say that, no? That is a prayer to Vyasadeva in Vishnu Sahasranam. Because Veda Vyaso Bhagavan Rishi. For Vishnu Sahasranam, the Rishi is Veda Vyasa. It is spoken by Bhishma Dev to Yudhishthira Maharaj on the battlefield. But Veda Vyaso Bhagavan Rishi for Vishnu Sahasranam. So that Veda Vyas, he's only written down, but it is already there. That's apaurushaya. So the Vedic knowledge is infallible. Okay. Lord controls the material nature. Lord not only creates the material nature, Maya adhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. Krishna says, this material world is functioning under my control. Not only that it belongs to me, because he says, Bhumi Rapun Alovayu Kamana Buddhi Revacha Ahankara Itiyame Bhinna Prakriti. This material world is made of 8 elements. All these 8 elements are my separated energies. So this material world is not only the separated energy of Krishna, but it is also constantly under the control of Krishna. So nothing is going wrong here. Everything is going perfectly. But if I live a wrong life, I find everything going wrong for me. That is the thing. So souls, which are animate beings, and other things are inanimate beings, they are controlled by Mother Nature, and Mother Nature is under the control of Krishna. So both directly and indirectly, Krishna is controlling the entire creation. and he's like fire. So fire is in one place, but it is distributing heat and light everywhere. Same way, Krishna is in the spiritual world, but he is pervading entire material creation. We saw in the example of Narsingadev, how he could appear from the pillar, just like that. Just like that. Or when Gajendra cried, caught by the crocodile in the water, instantly the Lord appeared on the back of Garuda. How is it possible? Because he's everywhere. He's all pervading. So that is the power of the Lord. So Lord is the only proprietor, and I better accept my quota. The example of cow and milk, I should accept what is my quota. So Prabhupada gives the example of laborer. Supposing you invite a laborer to your house, you give him some wood, you give him all the material, you ask him to make some furniture, he makes the furniture. And he says, sir, with so much difficulty, so much labor, I have made this furniture, so it belongs to me. Can he say that? No. He has only contributed his labor, but all the material was given by the owner. But if you take the case of God, even our body is given by him, our intelligence is given by him, and the resources are given by him. So he completely owns everything. Whatever I produce, I cannot say this was earned by me. Don't we say, this is my money, I will spend it the way I want. Maybe I will give 1% to God, but it actually is mine. Out of my money, I am giving 1% to God. But that's not correct. So Prabhupada says, honesty of thieves. Thieves, they go and steal property from different houses that doesn't belong to them. Then they say, we will now share it very fairly among us. All the thieves are sitting together very correctly. One coin, like that they are sharing. But from the beginning, it is wrong. It is not their property only. Then there is a question of fairness. So all of us are like that. We say, this is India, nobody from outside should come. Or even I will say, this is my state, outside the state, people should not come. We are like dogs. So Prabhupada says, we are actually behaving like dogs and cats, which are protecting their territory. This whole globe, what Prabhupada calls like a dust floating in the sky, we did not make it. But we are making boundaries and saying, this is my boundary, nobody should come. We are marking our boundary. This is my India, this is my Pakistan. And we said, nobody should come. We have a visa system. You have to pay so much fees to come. And you can stay only for so long. You can experience only so much of my resources like that. So this is quarrel happening between the capitalist and the worker. But the fact is, we have all forgotten God as the original owner and we are all fighting. So Prabhupada says that consciousness should come. So between man and animal gets no sin because animal has no concept of dharma. Animal doesn't have a concept of choice. Animal is bound by the body into which the soul has been put and it will behave naturally. Like a tiger will not try to come and drink milk. Tiger is only meant to eat flesh. And the cow will eat only grass. There is no competition. They don't encroach into others' territory. They don't violate their dharma. But only man has this tendency and man gets sin when he violates the Isopanisad principle. Then Prabhupada says amazingly, but don't think vegetarianism means I am sinless. Only by eating meat I become sinful. No. Prabhupada says just by becoming a vegetarian you don't become sinless because even vegetables have got life. So even if you are a vegetarian, you incur sin. So how to become free from sin? Recognize that everything belongs to God. The vegetables also belong to God. So what the Lord has permitted you to enjoy, you should remember that is also the Lord's property. So what do? You cook for Krishna. You offer it to Krishna. Then you take prasadam. Then Krishna removes the sin. Because Krishna is Supreme Lord. You cook the vegetables. What Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Palamtoyam Yomei Bhaktya Prayachati. You offer to the Lord. Krishna will remove the sin and he will give you prasada. It will purify you. So not just vegetarianism. We are not vegetarians. We are prasadarians. We eat only prasadam. And naturally, because Krishna eats only vegetarian food, we also eat vegetarian food. But doesn't mean we are vegetarian. We are prasadarian. We won't eat vegetables if they are not offered to the Lord. That's important. So Prabhupada says, neglect of the Veda in our life is risky. If you neglect Isavasyam principle, it is risky. The power of prasada, I have briefly told, maybe in other classes we'll discuss. Prasada's power is to control our senses. increase our love and faith in the Lord and make our life pure. That's the power of prasada. Mercy. Prasada means mercy. And ultimately, disobedience of law of God is sin. If you want to define God's law, if you disobey, that is what becomes sin for you. So thank you very much. With this, we come to the end of this session. I think I have overshot already. Let us chant the Mahamantra 3 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much. We'll take one or two questions. Rather, I wanted to ask you questions, but now let us see. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Is the subject matter clear? What we discussed today? Are there any doubts? Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, ma'am.
Prabhuji, nothing. Just can you just give a small summary or just in 2 or 3 lines what is Isopanisad so that we'll keep it in mind while attending all the classes, Prabhuji?
Whatever its purpose, our purpose in discussing Isopanisad is, number one, we know Gita-Upanishad is the essence of the cream of all Vedic literature. We already know.
Yes, Prabhuji.
It is directly spoken by Krishna. See, we say Vedas are paroksha. Paroksha means they don't directly speak. They speak in a slightly covered way. Why? Because Krishna says, I like it that way. I like the way the Vedas speak. They don't directly speak, they indirectly give knowledge of the Supreme Lord. So that is what the Vedas do, the scriptures do, the Upanishads do. But Krishna personally came and spoke the entire knowledge to us directly. So it is called the cream of all knowledge. Sarvopanishad Dhukavo Dhukako That is our main scripture. But in order to strengthen our faith more and more, and in order to help you to preach to the public, the Prabhupada has translated many more scriptures. So from the Vedas, Prabhupada has translated the Isopanishad to tell us that Upanishads are also talking about a personal God. People always argue Vedas are talking about some impersonal God. But now you will see as we go along, there are 18 shlokas, and as you proceed, you'll be amazed with such clarity. The Upanishads talk about a personal God. You will be thrilled and you will shed tears. I'm telling you honestly. So these will strengthen your faith. This will strengthen your faith and will increase your devotion to the Lord and will help you in your bhakti. So that is the main purpose. Otherwise, Ishopanishad is going to reconfirm, reaffirm what you already know. But you see, we want, why there is 18,000 shlokas in Bhagavatam? It can be stated in one shloka, the very first shloka. One shloka is enough. And only 4 shlokas the Lord told to Brahma. So, but why we have 18,000? We experience and we become joyful to hear more and more about the Lord. So, in that sense, not that we are going to come with something new which was not there in Bhagavad Gita. Certainly not. We are going to relish it more and more thanks to a pure devotee called Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, we have no adhikar to enter into these scriptures. But Srila Prabhupada has given us that adhikar. Next.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Vancha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, yes.
Prabhuji, one general question, Prabhuji. Now, recently I have attended one Gita class. There they were telling that in every human being there is Duryodhana. We have to come out of that. Then only we can attain God in that way. So, in my case, I just want to share my experience. Like in our home, like not in our home, in every homes there is husband and wife. Some or other there will be argument, right? So two of them will become Duryodhana, then it will burst. Wife and husband. If like husband is strong like Duryodhana more, like wife has to compromise, right? This is like their karma or what? How it is, Prabhuji? Like if it is like how it is going to happen, like forever the wife has to bear, or sometimes the wife is strong and husband is little bit good, so they have to bear for lifelong because of their karma, or what is exactly this, Prabhuji?
I got your question, Mataji. Thank you for articulating this. Basically, we all are souls.
Yes.
In Ramayana, Lord Ram speaks to Bharat, I think, this particular metaphor. He says, we are all like floating, you know, wooden pieces on the ocean. By the action of the waves, sometimes some pieces come together and then they float together for some time. And again, by the action of the waves, they separate. So, why two wooden logs came together? Why they went together for some time and why they separated? It is all by the action of karma, by a superior authority. Whatever happens is done. So,
Okay.
whoever understands this and takes the best advantage of any situation. Prabhupada would say again and again, make the best use of a bad bargain. Make the best use of a bad bargain. So Prabhupada would say, for example, the human body is a bad bargain. Compared to the spirit soul, which is Satchit Ananda, our body is Asat Achit Nirananda. Why did we get this body? It's a bad bargain. Our mind is material, our intelligence is material, everything is material. But we are spirit. Spirit is all joy. So we got a bad bargain. Prabhupada says, make the best use of a bad bargain. So how do we do that? Connect everything to Krishna and remain grateful to Krishna. These are the two things we should always do. Connect to Krishna and say, oh Krishna, I understand I am a part and parcel of you and I am your eternal loving servant. Thank you for making me that way. Because of my ignorance, I might have done many, many things in the past. And the situation you have given me today is perfectly what I need. Mataji, I want you to believe this. This is a fact. Whatever situation we are in today, that is the best for us. It's not that slightly worse. No, it is exactly the perfect fit for us. This is the position from which we can really make progress. So we should remain grateful to the Lord for carefully orchestrating my life in such a way that I can make progress. So only by having this sense of gratitude and love towards Krishna, you will make amazing progress. Even though there is a relationship and there are two people involved, I don't have to try to change the other person at all. This is why Purnamadaha, Purnamidam, this material world is also perfect. It's not imperfect. Once I make this decision from my side, I will follow Ishavashyam principle. Whatever is my quota, I will accept it gratefully and I will not try to aspire for others' quota. In this mood, we make amazing progress. So whatever problems we have, these are all opportunities for us. The Lord will reveal gradually. The more and more we surrender in a particular situation, the Lord will reveal more and more to us. That is how everything is constituted. It is not only for you, for the whole world. This is how the Lord has created. Material energy is operating on that basis only, under the guidance of the Lord. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की